Hey everybody, Jem Schofield here with the C47 and another episode of Gearbox. I'm still in suburbia. Dogs running around a little bit. Kids are inside, I think, getting ready for bed. Fingers crossed. And I just wanted to fire off an episode for you. So I'm still trying to find Hans. I'm not trying to find him, but it's just like when we work together in Europe, he's almost impossible to find. I get a text and I get an email and I get a call saying we're going to get together, and then the next thing I know, plans have changed with him, and then it gets changed again and again and again, and it's no different than it used to be, except for back then we didn't have any cell phones with texting. So that's the added bonus that I have, which is I get a text saying we're on, we're off, I can, and hopefully in the next few days I'll be able to do the next episode I want to do with him for some more filmmaking tips, and we're also going to talk about, because we're both foodies, some cooking stuff, so that'll be pretty cool. Now, I wanted to talk to you about setting up a little bit of a smaller kit. I'm always trying to reduce the amount of camera kit that I have, and this is A, so that I can shoot Gearbox when I'm in places like the city and not bring a lot of stuff, and B, also to talk to you guys about when you're shooting talent and trying to be a little more inconspicuous and not draw a lot of attention. So what I've done here, and let me just go ahead and turn on the flip camera, and by the way, because this is at 30 frames per second, I'm going to shoot and am shooting at 30 frames per second with my camera. So what I have is I have the 5D Mark II here, and the first thing I've done is put a wider lens on there. So I've got a 35, so that obviously allows me to get closer to the camera and still be able to frame this up. I'm always going for an 85. I really like the look of that longer lens, but in this case I'm going with the 35. I've got Marshall monitor up there, and then on a couple of nasty clamps I've got the shotgun mic and the H4n, and it's all just sitting on one tripod here. This is a little tripod that I have from Alzo Video, but if I wanted something that had a fluid head, I would go to, let me just turn this off, I would go to the Miller with the DS20 head, which I think is probably the best head for DSLR type stuff in terms of counterbalance and actually smooth, action and stuff like that. Action's not really the right word, but you guys get the idea. So this for me is a great little setup. Now, the problems with this setup are that the monitor itself is going to draw attention, and the tripod's going to draw attention, and so is the shotgun and the H4n. Now, if you took the shotgun away and the H4n and the monitor, actually wouldn't draw a lot of attention, because it would just be a tripod with a camera and a lens, and you could use something like the Z Finder to get focus, and if somebody was looking at that, in most situations wouldn't be a problem. Where it can be a problem is in New York, where you need a permit to put a tripod down on the ground. So you can take your chances, or you can go ahead and take a different approach. Now, the different approach would basically be to, first of all, from an audio standpoint, you could mic the person up with a wireless lav system. And what you do is basically have the H4n and the receiver on your person as the shooter, and then you would have the transmitter with the lavalier mic on your talent. And then that way, you're really just down to the camera and the lens and what you have on your person, and then the person having that microphone system. So I think that that's a great way to go about it. You can even use some stabilization systems, like, for instance, the little T-Pod, which is a mini tripod system that you could put down, find a place to do that. I've done that on things like mailboxes in the city, and that works really, really well and is not a full tripod system. You could also use a little light bracket along with that T-Pod, which I've done, and I'll send you guys, pardon me, to a link having to do with that. Or if you can get away with it, or you can do it, you're going to go ahead and put that camera on a tripod system. And in that situation, as long as you don't have a permit issue, it's not going to draw any attention, because again, you're down to the camera, a lens, and the tripod in terms of what people are seeing, and then everything else is just sort of normal. You could be taking photographs of somebody. So there you have it. Thoughts on that. Wendy is trying to find a dog to bark at some more, and I'll see you guys next time on Gearbox.